So let's start with you, Owen. I mean, the world of sports went through quite a bit of disruption over the past 3 years. This year, 23, has been a bit of a rebirth for everyone, including for badminton. You just completed the World Championship in Denmark. You also announced the next World Tour finals taking place in Hangzhou. I mean, this is the first year that you're back in China, actually, since 2019. So can you provide us with a bit of an overview of where the sport is after those 3 years of challenging years?
I can indeed. Hello everybody, and thank you to friends in the audience who've come to see me, which is great, and of course Vincent and David. I trust you can see the numbers on the slide. I can't see the slide, the screens behind me, but contextually, of course, badminton took a huge hit in COVID, as did every sport. Our calendar was decimated in 20 and 21. In 22, I think we were 70% back to normal or so. And in 23, we are fully back to normal in terms of our operational calendar. The numbers you see on the screen in front of you are a reflection of where we finished 2022. On the left, you'll see our global fan base, which is 30 million down from what it was in 2018. And the reason for that is we took a big hit in China as a result of the zero COVID policy, no events in China, which we all had to live with in sport, especially in badminton. The rest of the numbers speak for themselves. They're big, punchy numbers, which we're proud to deliver to our partners, such as TotalEnergies. And we thank Infront, our business partners, in terms of how we deliver that in broadcast numbers, sponsorship revenues and so on, but particularly how we deliver value back to our sponsors through the sport. We track consistently second and third in most Asian countries in terms of popularity as a sport, behind at times basketball, other times football. But as Sean, I think, said, we are far more popular than motorsport, sorry to say that, in F1 week in Singapore. And that's a little bit of context in terms of where we are. Some very, very good numbers. One of my favorite words in the world is punchy, and we're delivering punchy numbers. Thank you.
Thank you, Owen. Maybe just to deep dive on one of this number, which is quite impressive, especially on the digital channels. I understand the Federation has been investing significantly over the past few years in social media, in digital content, building one of the most engaged community, fan community in the world of sports. BWF itself every year is ranking pretty high among all the international sports federations from on the variable of engagement across digital. So can you tell us a bit more about your editorial strategy, your investment into those channels? How do you handle and keep your community engaged through content?
Yes. In 2018, we set out to build a significant social media department, which we have. We went from 2 communications specialists to now 10 working just beneath me. A guy called Lloyd Green, a mad Australian with the biggest beard and longest hair you've ever seen, reports to me and runs this team. But contextually, in 2019, we had 0 Instagram followers. We now have, as you can see, in fact, it's closer to 1.6 today. And we grew that universe during COVID with no live content. We learned a huge lesson about the use of archive, which I think all sports have, but underutilized. And we literally grew all of these platforms. YouTube went from 1 million subscribers to 2.8. Facebook grew by double. Instagram, you can see the numbers there. I don't know what fold that is in terms of growth, but the strategy is to 365 days a year keep our fans and our sponsors and our broadcasters entertained with badminton content. It's very fan-centric at most, well, I wouldn't say most of the time, probably 60% of the time, and 40% of the time it's done in partnership with companies like TotalEnergies in order to push through brand messages to our universe.
Can you tell us to which extent athlete-related content is critical to grow this number?
100%. It's all about athlete-related content. We do a lot of work with the athletes to generate their content themselves that they provide to us to share. We work very closely, increasingly more efficiently with the athletes. The federation is, I would say, a little old-fashioned in that the athletes are very much attached to their in-country federations. So there's a little bit of negotiation that goes on there every day in terms of how we use the athletes. But it's important also for the athletes to recognize that working with us also delivers more fame to them in the way that we've seen in tennis in the last 30, 40 years. So we work very closely with the athletes, and it's all about the athletes, frankly.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, it's pretty unique in the world of sports, but you're also training them to use their social media channels.
Yeah, we have something called, for the last 5 years, that gets increasingly more attention from the athletes, something called the BWF Star Creation Program. And we teach them on a daily basis in a sort of peer-to-peer learning environment where we take small batches of athletes. We teach them how to maximize the opportunity in social media for them. And when other athletes see the success of the athletes that have been through the program, they copy them. And it works really well. So we've seen big growth in athlete following as well.
Switching to, let's say, the commercial side, because this is obviously how you support the growth of the sport and keep investing into the sport. I mean, despite COVID, I think the strongest testimonial, especially for you, was the loyalty and the trust from your partners. I mean, you announced major renewals during those times, as well as expansion of your exposure through new partnership with media partners around the world. So, can you tell us, what makes the badminton platform so attractive to global and regional brands as much as to media partners?
The focus clearly, in terms of the interest for badminton, is the Asian region. I mean, 80% of our television delivery is in Asia versus 20% rest of world. We embarked in 2020 and 21 during COVID to renew our broadcast deals through to the end of 2026, which we've done successfully with Infront, a colleague of ours called Ryan Tan. Big shout out to him and his team. And significantly, David and I were able to renegotiate or negotiate a renewal with TotalEnergies in the middle of COVID. And that was the faith that TotalEnergies put in badminton, the platform, to reach the customers and constituents that they want to reach in Asia, particularly through badminton. And it gives me an opportunity to thank Vincent once again for that renewal through to 2025, which is significant. They are the title sponsor of our major championships, those being the World Championships, the Sudirman Cup and the Thomas and Uber Cups, which happen twice a year. Thank you. And it's testimony, I think, really to the power that we as a sport can give to a brand in Asia as to why we're talking with clients such as TotalEnergies and others.
Thank you, Owen. So, Vincent, I mean, TotalEnergies has been in its 8 years relationship with Badminton World Federation. TotalEnergies is a massive company globally, 100,000 employees, presence in 130 countries, one of the largest multi-energy company in the world. So before digging a bit deeper into the partnership, I understand the company itself goes through a major transition with switching to better, cleaner energy, more responsible energy from traditional oil and gas. So can you tell us a bit more context about what the company is going through today?
As a company is going through a huge transformation, even to the extent that we changed the company name 2 years ago from Total to TotalEnergies. We are engaged to switch from the oil and gas to a multi-energy company, to be responsible for this transformation around the world, switching from the fossil to the renewables. That's the reason why we are investing so much in windmills, in solar panels, in a new way of producing products with bio content. So within this journey, which was started in 2019, we now engage our teams, our people, and even until our customers, the B2B and the B2C, because we've got this responsibility to provide a cleaner energy to the world. And in the inverse, the world is asking us, the world demand is increasing day after day, especially in Asia, China, India. All these countries are increasing their demand in terms of energy. So this is a huge challenge for an energy company like us to provide and to answer to this demand by being responsible and switching from, I would say, the oil and gas to the renewable. So this is where we are, and we are investing massively, I think, for the last 8 years in this new way of providing energy to the world.
Quite interesting times, huh? In your industry right now. I guess fascinating and very exciting. When it comes to the connection to sports, I mean, your company, as much as your competitor in the same industry, in the same category, have been involved traditionally in motorsports. And you know, some time ago, TotalEnergies actually switched, or let's say, started to consider investing in other sports and build partnership and association with other fan communities. I mean, currently, maybe for those who are not aware, I mean, you are an official partner of the current World Cup taking place in France. You also are a title partner of a cycling team who participated in the Tour de France. I think early next year, you are also the title partner of the CAF, so the Africa Cup of Nations in football. So you have invested across many different sports. Can you tell us a bit more about you know, how sports obviously helps you to meet your objectives?
So initially, we were one of the major partner of the motorsports. We've been supporting the motorsport for the last, I would say, 40 years. And since 2019, we decided to switch over some of the sports, the one you mentioned, and the idea was to be partner of this federation, like the Rugby World Cup or the football in Africa, or even now we are the owner of this title sponsor of the cycling team. Is proximity to our customer, proximity to the market where we are. So cycling is more a European topic. Football, Africa, we are a market leader in Africa, but it was very important for B2B and B2C customer to have this association with us. And in Asia, which is a key region for the company, badminton was for us the sport which is more closer and to the fan. You were talking about the global fan base. Total and now TotalEnergies brand awareness is not at the level in Asia with the one we've got in Africa, where we are for the last, I would say, 50 years, even more, and Europe, because our roots are in Europe and in Africa and not in Asia. So we need to have a sport bringing us closer to our customer and to these markets where we were, I won't say unknown, but we didn't have the support of what we are calling the retail networks, petrol station, because we are not in this kind of business in Asia. We are not massively in this kind of business in Asia. So we needed to have the sport, popular sport, known by everybody, and to have this association. So that was the first idea to promote the brand.
Thank you. Maybe a question for the two of you. I mean, on the back of this partnership, can you tell us how do you feel on both sides, the sport and the company and the brand aligned in terms of the values and their missions?
For us, if I can talk about the values, badminton is a popular sport and is the image is very positive. Everybody is playing badminton in Asia Pacific, I would say, India. Everybody is playing badminton, so it's accessible compared to some other sports where we were massively as motorsports. Motorsport is it's an elite who could access to motorsport. It's bringing values linked to, I would say, the old energy world. So this is not in our strategy. Today, so badminton was helping us to go closer to the market and to be more popular compared to the motorsport.
Thanks. Before I answer that question, I just want to apologize for the absolutely outstanding performance of the Springbok team in the World Cup rugby. I'll just put that as a marker up for everybody. Sorry? Yeah. In terms of values, I can speak forever about the importance of badminton, especially to an Asian audience, but being a sport that is accessible to all, it's easy to pick up, it's easy to play. But with that as a backdrop, a business like TotalEnergies, which is all about now renewable energy, existing energy sources and so on, everybody needs some form of energy in order to power them through whatever they're doing in the day, whether it be electricity in your house or your vehicles, increasingly more electrically powered vehicles, which is super good. So the synergies for me are that we are, on behalf of TotalEnergies, talking to an audience that clearly they want to reach, and they need to reach, and they need to get their brand message to that audience.
You're talking about reach, Owen, and Vincent, a partnership is as good as the connection you are able to make, obviously with that sports community, so with potential consumers or existing consumers. So did you meet any specific challenge, or are you meeting any specific challenge while activating that community?
So we met several challenges before and after the COVID. So during the COVID, Owen mentioned it. So it was more than tough and difficult to activate and to keep on being alive in our global fan base. The challenge we have is the location of the event for us as a partner. When an event is taking place in a country where we are not so strong, where we don't have so popularity, so much awareness, it is a challenge for us. So that's the reason why we are relying on our colleagues from the BWF to push the content, especially on the digital. And we used it a lot. You name the millions of followers in Instagram, YouTube, etc. So this was one of the major challenge for us, to leverage this presence in some countries and some markets where we were almost unknown. And another one you mentioned in the one as well is the association between this sport, the athletes, and the brand. Athletes' testimonial is a key issue in football, in rugby, in motorsport. You need to identify yourself, and the fan must identify themselves with an athlete, with a sport, and with some companies behind. So this is a major challenge. And I know that BWF has worked on it when he's mentioning that they are training even the athletes, which is for me a key issue, to be more and more active on the networks, on the digital. It's really important for the partner we are.
You are activating that partnership, of course, across many different areas. I think I want to focus on one, the digital, because obviously this is pretty much quite a trend through partnership activations. And you have this, you have created this program, Fanatics of Total, and you are focusing most your investment on developing content, especially in connection with athletes. Maybe can you tell us a bit more about this?
Well, the idea was to leverage this, not to go through the what we are saying, the old school of way of doing promotion and communicating. So we wanted to use this digital media, social network. So we created this Facebook fan base, this Instagram one. We are using key opinion leaders. It was a big success in China, not during the last event, but 6 months ago in Sudaman Cup. If I just give you one figure, we managed to onboard 13 million people thanks to this activation during the Sudaman Cup with key opinion leaders, bundling it with some activations in parallel. So this is a clear example of a success, and we will keep on doing that for the next events, yes.
Thanks. I mean, to give a taste to the audience, can we put up a video, which is a short form clip of what Total and BWF, TotalEnergies and BWF produce together?
The omelette, they are the red beans. Really happy with the food.
Fuel for the body.
I hope to be energized and I'll be ready for my training now.
We are playing against China, and I know it's a tough match, but I am a tough opponent too. Team Egypt. We are really happy to come back to practice all everything. It's perfect.
Owen, I think this was the most performing clip with millions of reach and engagement.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, you can see from the content that we're trying to link some of the commentary from the athletes to what TotalEnergies is all about, energy and power and so on. Now, some people may think that's a little bit twee, but it's really important to get that messaging into some of our content on behalf of our partners, such as TotalEnergies. I think that had, I mean, it was in the millions of impressions for sure, that particular clip. But during the course of the Sudaman Cup, where we produced a huge amount of branded content on behalf of our partner, we reached millions and millions and millions of people with that. And it doesn't pay back immediately, of course not. It doesn't result necessarily in a sale of a product the next day, but it's all about brand awareness fundamentally. This is what the platform is for. And as I said earlier, we as the BWF, we need to be very conscious of how much content we curate that is pure fan content and how much content we create that is broadly branded content. But that particular piece, you know, with its funky, playful music was a very, very successful piece of content.
You talked about obviously numbers, and switching back to Vincent, I mean, how do you measure obviously the success of this partnership? I mean, this is always, I mean, even today in 2023, a question for most of the brands which are investing heavily in sports. You create quite engaging content, deliver numbers, and you obviously have different objectives on the B2B, B2C side. So how do you measure this?
It's very difficult to measure. As in any sport, it's very difficult because, as you mentioned, we are talking about brand awareness. So we've got some surveys, of course, linked to the global brand value, to the numbers, the millions of followers in the different social media and etc. But it's very difficult to have a figure. That's the reason why, as a company, TotalEnergies has always been very loyal to its partners, creating long-term partnership, because we strongly believe that it's not within 5 or 10 years that we manage to create a new brand in a region. So it's on the long run that we'll manage to create this global fan-based community and this association with our brand. So it's a long journey. We started in 2015. I think that is for the last 3 years now after the COVID. We see more and more people leveraging this within the company towards our customer, B2B or B2C customer. Passion is there in Asia, especially in Asia. But even within the company, there is more and more, I would say, proximity between the event, the sport, and the company.
Thank you, Vincent. I mean, we have just a few minutes left. I'd like to focus on one very important topic in sport today, sustainability, especially when it comes to TotalEnergies. Sustainability is at the heart of your strategy. I mean, again, switching to transitioning to better, cleaner energy. So you have also an ambition to be net zero by 2050, I understand. So, I mean, how do you incorporate the variable of sustainability into such partnership, for example?
So it's very difficult to incorporate. What we could help the federation and the tour is to provide a cleaner energy solution towards logistics around the events. For example, with solar panel, cleaner energy. We could open some discussions that we haven't done yet, but I think that we could help on the all the global emission linked to the championship on an annual basis. So there we could contribute, because during the event there is an energy consumption. We could provide some cleaner solution to that.
Owen, switching back to you on that topic, I mean, obviously there is a, due to the nature of our industry and the industry of sporting events, moving around the circus, there is a topic quite around sustainability across all sports rights holders. I mean, is that topic on the top of the agenda of BWF? And do you have a specific roadmap that you are trying to follow for the next few years?
It's way up at the top with two others that I'll cover off in a minute. We've recently, or we're in the process of concluding an internal study as to what our own BWF headquarters carbon footprint looks like. You know, we all travel incessantly and so on. And of course, as David says, you know, to move athletes around the world in aircraft and so on, it's a challenge. But we're beginning to try to understand what it means for us to overcome that. Vincent is quite right in terms of what we can do more at a hosting level. At events, you know, recyclable plastic. I mean, it's astonishing how much plastic is generated. Forgive me, especially at Asian events where everything is delivered in a styrofoam box and a plastic bag and this, that, and the other. So it is very important to us, and it's a conversation that we're having with TotalEnergies and how we can leverage that against each other. The other two really important initiatives that we're working on are safeguarding in sport. Which is a very topical discussion. And, of course, gender equality. You'll see from the slide that we put up earlier that our fan base is pretty much 50-50, which is unusual in sport, where there often is a heavy bias in male following. So sustainability, safeguarding, and gender equity are right up on our political agendas.
All right, maybe for a final word, any innovative project that both companies are and organizations are planning for the future, maybe on that topic of sustainability or innovation?
Innovation. We have a new badminton product called Air Badminton. There's a gentleman sitting in the corner over there called Rodrigo Pacheco, who's our marketing manager, who has really led that project with our development department. That is an outdoor version of badminton. Everyone says, oh, but everyone plays outdoors anyway. Basically, it's on the premise of a new shuttlecock design that is more playable outside on grass, sand, or even in an urban sort of parkour environment. That's a big opportunity for us to continue to grow the sport, especially in some countries where the sport is not as popular as it is now. That's probably the focus.
And Vincent, any aspiration about any innovative project on the sustainability side that you could develop with BWF?
I think what we could contribute to lower the global carbon footprint during the events. This is clearly where we could have something to bring to the tournament, I would say, to the championship.
Thank you. We'll leave the audience with that word. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Now it comes to the end, so wish the relationship the best, I guess, as we say. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a quick shout out. These numbers don't auto-generate, by the way. There are two ladies in the room from Nielsen Sports. We have a partnership quietly in the background with Nielsen Sports in order to do this reporting to the world and to our customers. Thank you.